Fellow Falcoholics, what is up? Welcome to episode 197 of the Falcoholic Live. I am your host, Kevin Knight at Falcoholic Kevin, joined by two excellent co-hosts and a very special guest this evening. Before we introduce him, let me welcome in Director of Guest Personnel, Evan Birchfield, also Social Media Manager, Evan Birchfield now. Congrats to Evan there. But Evan, how are we doing tonight?
I'm doing great. Got a great guest on tonight, and we're a little closer to training camp, but yeah, excited to talk some more Falcons football. Haven't been on in like 2 weeks, so
yeah, it's a good time. Well, we saved special teams just for you, Evan. I knew this was the one that you would want to get to weigh in on more than anyone else. So, also with us back from vacation, we have Adnan Ikic at Say Which Way. We couldn't even let him have like 2 days, off before we had to call him back on the air. Adnan, welcome back, and how you doing?
I'm very jet lagged right now, but I'm going to bed at a decent time. No, I'm good. I'm glad to be back. No matter where I go in the world, I always feel a sense of joy when I touch down at Hartsfield.
Yeah, it feels like home. Yeah,
absolutely. So I'm happy to be talking Falcons football, and we're just a couple of weeks out of training camp, so I'm really psyched about that.
Absolutely. And that leads us now to our special guest. He is Falcons defensive tackle Anthony Rush. He is at Can't Be Blocked 25 on Twitter. Anthony, how are you doing tonight?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Thank you for having me on.
Appreciate you coming on, man. I know I'm a very big fan. I don't know if you read the site, but I wrote up your player profile, so I'm a big fan of your contributions to the team last year and excited for what you can do this year. So to start us off, let's talk about that. How was your first year in Atlanta? I know you started the season with the Titans and then ended up coming to Atlanta mid-season, but how was it your first year getting to play in Atlanta?
It was pretty good, man. The transition and everything was good. When I got here, it was, it was still football, but it was more of a family vibe. You know what I'm saying? So I got in good with everybody real quick, and Grady and TQ and all those guys. So. And Coach G, Art, I've been getting in good with those guys as soon as I got here, so it's been good.
Yeah, now going into your second season with the Falcons, I believe this is the first year that you've spent two consecutive training, or well, not two training camps, but 2 years on the same team because you've had to bounce around a bit earlier in your career, which unfortunately a lot of NFL players do. But how is it for you now having some stability finally?
It's definitely like a stress reliever, just not having to, fly around the country and play football on Sundays, but I definitely appreciate the Falcons for, let me do what I do, just being a big guy, doing big guy things. So I appreciate them.
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned being a big guy, obviously, I would say the biggest on the team. Maybe if anyone else has come in since last year. Maybe you can correct me, but how is it for you? Is it hard to keep on the weight? I know some guys it's like really easy. Some guys it's like really a challenge. How is it for you to play at that weight?
I've been playing since that size since about college. So I'm around the 345 range right now, and I just try to keep it below 350. But we do a lot of conditioning and stuff like that. So I'm always in shape. It's never a problem. So and then I take a lot of double teams too. So you can't be too light doing that.
No, definitely not. Yeah, I know some guys they have to literally just eat peanut butter sandwiches all day, and some guys it's like the opposite. So it sounds like for you it's not too much of a challenge to be able to play it that weight. So that's good to hear.
Yeah, especially in the hotter months. You can lose some weight at practice. I might lose 7-8 pounds of water at practice. So it's just when it gets to that. Point of the year where it starts to get cold, you gotta stay out the calf and stuff like that. But other than that, I'm pretty good with it.
Yeah, I'm hoping that I can lose a couple pounds while I'm observing training camp practices while I'm down there. But it's a little bit different.
It's gonna be hot for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I'll open up the floor to Evan. Evan, any question to get us started with Anthony?
Not so much football related, but just in general, how's your off season been?
It's been good. Most of the time I've been here in Flowery Branch, just the facility, just around. I didn't really do any major vacations or anything this off season. Just trying to lock in.
Yeah. Excellent.
Yeah. Staying ready so he doesn't have to get ready.
Yep.
There you go. There you go. Yeah, Adnan, anything you want to throw in here as well?
Yeah, no, Kevin mentioned it. You've bounced around a little bit since signing on to the Eagles as an undrafted free agent. Just what what kind of a mentality do you have to have just to go like that from team to team while still pursuing that NFL dream and just not letting it go?
I think you just got to have like real thick skin. Like that a team might cut you for a certain reason, but it's not because you can't do what they're asking you to do. It might be somebody coming off IR or something like that. This is a crazy business, but you just got to keep your head up and just keep a smile on your face, man, because you never know who you run into again. It's been a blessing for me. It's just all the way up to this point. So I'm blessed.
I mean, we're definitely glad to have you in Atlanta. Just both having that kind of mentality and just the work that you put in last year. It doesn't go unrecognized at all. Like, sure, you're not one of the household names, but you do a great job getting the job done, and we wish you much success moving forward, and to keep doing what you're doing in Atlanta and around the league. Stories like yours are some of my favorites in the NFL.
Yep. Yeah, my story's a little crazy, because I don't know if you guys knew, but I didn't have a pro day or, I didn't have a combine invite. I didn't go to any All-Star games, so I really had to work my way from the bottom to the top, and I'm still going. So.
Yeah. Playing at UAB. I can't remember. Was your year the last year that UAB had the program before they paused and then came back, or was it?
It was the first year when I reinstated the program.
That's right. Yeah, because UAB's had a whole thing going on too.
Yeah.
So that I'm sure didn't help matters either. But yeah, I mean, I was trying to look up your athletic testing the other day, and I noticed that there wasn't anything listed as like official combine testing. So it's like, oh yeah, but I mean, I can tell you're athletic. It's easy to see on tape, and it's quite impressive for the size as well. But yeah, I mean, what was it? What is it like to have to basically? You came to Atlanta after a couple weeks with Tennessee, and then pretty quickly had to get onto the field. What is that like to basically transition to a completely different team, and then all of a sudden, okay, you're on the field on Sunday?
You just. I think my football IQ just helps me out a lot. Just knowing like different fronts and stuff like that, being able to just come in and play because as I was on a couple different teams. And I was going in to play, so I might have had a week to practice, and then, next week I was playing in the game. So I think I just got used to it and play, but it wasn't that hard or anything. So, I just got right into it. When you come in mid-season, you're kind of filling a role. So it's not like you went through training camp and all. So.
Yeah, you had to basically just jump right into the fray. Yep. And I know depending on the scheme, it might not be that different, but yeah, I mean, I know coming from Tennessee, they don't run the same exact scheme that Dean Pease ran when he was there anymore. I think it's been 2 years removed since he was there. So, definitely impressive how quickly you were able to get on the field, and then getting 6 starts too by the end of the season. I mean, I would say that's a big achievement to basically come in off the street and get starts going. So, we certainly appreciate that after watching the Falcons run defense early in the season before you got here. It was nice to see, I'll say, after you got here. That was I definitely enjoyed, especially that first Saints game. I think that was my favorite performance of yours. And we always love when players show out against the Saints. So.
Oh yeah, we about to see him again.
Oh yeah. Yeah. You guys, how's the locker room feeling about getting to play the Saints week 1?
It's the first game, so everybody's trying to win that first game. It just sets you up for later on in the season, but it's a rivalry game, so you know how that goes.
Yeah.
Have you felt those rivalry vibes at all from a lot? Because you did play the Saints twice.
Mm-hmm.
Have you felt that it was, maybe a bit different?
Yeah, it's definitely a little bit. Everybody's a little more tightened up. You know what I'm saying? So you can definitely feel it.
Absolutely. Yeah, we had a question from a fan here, Jason Gaines, with the $2. Thank you so much, Jason. He says, Anthony, thanks for coming in last season and being good nose tackle for us. Appreciate the effort that you showed. Question for you is, would you be open to playing a little goal line fullback? I don't think the opposing team's defense would want to have to deal with you in the red zone. Hashtag big man touchdowns. Yeah.
I'm not going to speak on it too much, but you might see me back there this year. We're not going to speak on it too much.
Okay. I appreciate the possibility of that happening excites me greatly.
Did you ever do that in college or anything?
No, I was.
It sounds like fun. I mean, yeah.
It does sound like fun.
Yeah. I mean, I think more teams should do that. I mean, we saw Jordan Davis of Georgia, another nose tackle, get a chance to do that some in college this year too. So I think that's something I would like to see just for the fun aspect of it, because who doesn't like that? Yeah. Well, I'll open the floor back up to you guys as well. If you have any more questions for Anthony tonight.
Anthony, what was your favorite moment, even not just of last season, but so far in your NFL journey? What's been your favorite part?
I think just the game day experience. Like I've been a couple different places. Like game day experience is just, you work so hard for that. Not everybody sees, the training camp and OTAs. They just see what we do on Sundays. You know what I'm saying? It's a 7-day job. You know what I'm saying? So. I just love preparing for it, just getting ready to play, man. And I love football. You gotta love football to be in the NFL. So yeah, it's definitely a blessing.
Absolutely. Yeah, Evan, anything else you'd like to ask?
Just I know training camp's coming up. How excited are you for it?
Oh, I'm ready. I'm in Flowery Branch. I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
All right, already there. Yeah. That's good to hear. Yeah, I'm excited as well. I live in New York State, so I'll be flying down for the first week or so to check it out, of course. But yeah, it's always a lot of fun. It's a great atmosphere there. I know there'll be less COVID restrictions this year, so more fans will get to come in. I know the fans will enjoy that as well. I'm curious of the other guys on that defensive line. Obviously, there's a lot of new faces. Any of the new young guys that you've seen so far that you think people should sort of keep an eye on?
I think you can keep your eye on all of them. They all are good at certain things. So that's what the preseason's for. They'll show you what they're able to do, and in an NFL uniform and a shield on their chest. You know what I'm saying? So it's always a fun time in preseason because I remember my rookie year. It was kind of a crazy rookie year. I left Philly and went to Oakland, and I did so good in the preseason, I went back to Philly. So it's just, you never know. I was getting my car at the rental place in Alameda, and my agent calls me like, "Hey man, don't get the rental car. You're gonna have to you're playing the Bills this week." So it just, it was pretty fast.
Crazy.
But it was fun, man. It's like that's something I could tell my kids one day. I don't have any kids now, but that's just something I can say. Your dad did or something like that. So
Yeah, I don't think fans realize that for the guys that aren't, on the fully guaranteed contracts, like there's a lot of shuffling that could go on even during the middle of the season, even during training camp. So, I mean, I know now you've had a little bit of stability for once, but it's always interesting to me to see you've been to Philly, you mentioned Oakland, Green Bay, Seattle, and then Tennessee last year too. So you've had kind of an NFL world tour so far in your career.
Yeah, that happens fast too. But I enjoyed every second of it.
Yeah, it's quite a spread of teams too. Like it's kind of just a little bit everywhere. Like you got the East Coast with Philly, got the Midwest Green Bay, and then the West Coast with Seattle. So just all over. But
yeah. Do the atmospheres differ from team to team on game day and leading up to it?
I wouldn't say that. When I was in Seattle, it was COVID, so there were no fans. So I didn't really get to experience that. But I think it's all cool to me. I'm a JUCO product. I really had to work for this, so I enjoy every second of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we have another question coming in from Robert Kelly. He wants to know, what's it like to line up and play next to Grady Jarrett, and have you learned anything from him so far?
Oh, yeah, I've learned a lot from Grady. I love playing with Grady. We're two different body types. He's more like a Ferrari. more like a Ford F-150 or F-450, you know. So it's fun playing with him. I've learned a lot of things from him. I think both our football IQs just kind of go together, you know. So you know, we sometimes we don't have to talk. We just know, you know. So it's just that connection.
Yeah. Yeah, that chemistry is really important. It's talked about a lot for offensive linemen, but it's really, I think, an underrated aspect of playing defensive line as well, because I know Pease likes to run a lot of blitzes and a lot of stuff behind you guys, and there's sometimes stunts and things like that going on. So you guys have to be on the same page or that stuff doesn't work. So definitely can appreciate that. Yeah, you guys, anything else you want to ask Anthony tonight?
Yeah, I'm wondering. I'm pretty sure you're one of the stronger guys in the locker room on the bench press. Who is the strongest person in there? Is it you?
I'm not gonna lie. I'm more of a field person. You know, I ain't gonna lie to y'all like that. I can lift some weights now. I can definitely lift some weights.
Well, you got long arms too, so
yeah,
it's
I got
hard.
long arms.
It's hard, yeah.
I would say TQ is pretty strong.
Yeah, he's got long arms too.
Yeah, he's him and Grady kind of live together, and Nick Thurman, he's pretty strong too.
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah, that's good intel there. Yeah. No, I appreciate the honesty. We know we can trust everything you've told us tonight now. So yeah. Anybody else questions for Anthony tonight?
Yeah, no. What are your expectations for the defense this season?
Just to build off last year, you know, we did a lot of good things last year, but it's also time we could have did better things. You know what I'm saying? But that goes around the league. So you know, it's just everybody's trying to be perfect in a non-perfect game. But you know, the teams that do it, but the teams that consistent, they they win a lot of games. So it's just, you know, everybody's trying to get to that point. Only one team gonna be happy at the end of the year anyway. So you know, we're just trying to be that team.
Absolutely, yeah. Did you have more on? No, I'm sorry.
Yeah, just to piggyback off that one, what's it like playing under Dean Pease? I know he's an old school defensive mind. What's that been like under his tutelage? Have you learned a lot from him?
Yeah, I learned a lot from him, and just you know, different things. Just, you know, watching Baltimore film and stuff like that. You know, it's just he's really a good coach, and you know, he expects certain things. So if you don't meet those expectations, you know, he's going to let you know. So you know, everybody just tries to be perfect every day. So you know, he's a good coach. We love him.
Absolutely. Yeah, well, I do want to ask this just because there's a lot of outside noise about the Falcons right now, right? Everyone's saying, oh, the Falcons, their roster's not good enough, or, you know, we're not expecting anything from this year. So how do you guys as a team, you know, deal with that noise and then, you know, have it, you know, translate? Yeah.
We don't really listen to it. You know, anybody can write or type anything. You know, nobody's really out there practicing with us or, you know, traveling with us or playing the game. So, you know, everybody's talking right now. It's the preseason, like, oh, we got, you know, this person, that person, you know, around the league. So it don't really matter to like the 11th. So
yeah, it's you know, one of those things.
Even in preseason.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, I mean, anything can happen. You know, like obviously, lots of stuff can happen between now and preseason. Unfortunately, there will always be injuries too, so it's still early in the process. But I certainly like the look of this defense in particular. I think you guys are gonna surprise some people this year for sure. But yeah, as someone who writes a lot of words on the internet, you know, I understand the temptation to just type whatever comes to mind. But you know, people got to realize it's not just numbers out there; it's actual guys. So that's why I try to be you know, as complimentary as possible to everyone, just because look, it's life for you guys. You know, it's your job, it's your livelihood. It's not just a game. As much fun as it is to play, I know you love ball and all that, but it's more than that. So especially at this level, yeah, guys. Anything else for Anthony before we?
I saw Jason Gaines was asking just how cold was it in Buffalo when you guys.
Oh wow, yeah. I swear, I'm kidding you not. Like the turf was frozen.
Yeah.
Like I had ice stuck to the bottom of my cleats. Like I had to take that off. You know, it was pretty cold out there. But you know, once you get to running around and stuff, you warm up. But when you're just standing there, that wind blowing, Yeah, it's pretty cold.
Do you have a big coat
Definitely
on?
frozen. I think we need like ice skates.
Oh yeah,
Please.
that would be fun. I would watch that. I'd watch it. It's like a hockey football mix. I would be into that for sure. But
when I saw last year's schedule drop and I saw Buffalo in January, I was like, yikes.
Well, it's funny because I like I said, I live in New York State. I live in Syracuse, so I was considering driving to Buffalo to cover that game, but the storm blew in, and I was like, "There's no way I'm not going to try to drive through that." But and then you could see it on the field. You know, the snow was piling up. So I'm glad I didn't drive over there. But it did seem like that's, especially for playing in Atlanta all the time. Like you don't get a lot of snow games in Atlanta. So
Is there any specific game on the schedule? Not so much the opponent, but maybe a city you haven't been to that you're excited about?
I kind of been everywhere, you know. So
Yeah.
not really. You know, I was working. I was worried about preseason games, and, you know, weekends. So it's a long season. You just you go with it.
yeah, absolutely. All right, guys. Well,
Oh wait, let me ask one
go ahead.
more.
Yeah,
What
yeah,
what was your opinion on the red helmets? Did you get a close look at them?
Oh yeah, I got a real close look at them.
Yeah, do you like
I
them?
love them.
Yeah,
Can't wait to wear them.
Yeah.
I might take it home with me after the game. They might not get it back. But
Yeah.
I definitely like it.
Okay,
Yeah, I don't know what happened to that one. Yeah, it's gone. It got dented. I don't know. Somebody.
Yeah.
Some
And then
guy
the
took it.
the Texans are trying to copy us. It's just,
I saw that.
It's
Yeah.
really
It's
out
not
of
the
pocket.
same.
We're the
Red and
trendsetters,
black
though.
looks so much better.
Yeah, it does. You know.
And the good news is we had Brett Jukes on the show a few weeks ago. He hinted at the helmets being used in more than one game this year. I know we know officially it's going to be week 6, but could be multiple times.
Will be more. We don't know exactly.
I hope so.
Yeah.
It will be more than one. We got that confirmed, but
Yeah.
which games it'll be, or if it'll be more than 2, we don't know. But at least 2, possibly more. I'm excited because we're all big fans of the red helmet here. I mean, I was a big fan of the all black uniforms, going back to that look as well. But that red helmet is really nice. So I'm excited about that. But anything else, guys, before we let Anthony off the hook tonight?
What are your expectations for yourself for this season?
Just to build off last year, you know, I know I had a good year last year and stuff with that, but you know, I could always do better. You know, you can never just stop getting better. You always keep working, keep perfecting your craft. And, you know, I got an opportunity lifetime right now, so I just gotta hone it in and, you know, just build off last year.
Well, you're definitely one of the fan favorites. We definitely always have a pulse on the fan base. And, you know, you're one of our favorites here at the Falcoholic as well. So we definitely do wish you the best, and, you know, just keep going as far as you can take it at this point.
Okay.
Yeah.
I appreciate y'all.
Yeah. I mean, I know fans for a while during the Dan Quinn years, the Falcons went to it was a 4-3, so there's a little bit smaller, faster penetration style defense. So I think they were missing the big boys. So when you came in, I think a lot of fans were really excited to get some more big boys here on the defensive line. And I am also pretty excited about that. So again, thank you so much, Anthony, for coming on, guys. He is at Can't Be Blocked 25 on the Twitter. Anthony, anything else that you'd like to plug or anything before you sign off?
No, man, I'll see you guys at camp, man. I'll be there.
Thanks for coming on,
See
Anthony.
you there. Yeah, thank you so much for coming on, man. Really appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right, man. Have a good night. All right, guys. Anthony Rush, great guest. Thank you, Evan, for setting that up. Really appreciate that. Always fun to talk to players. Anthony seems like a great guy with a good head on his shoulders. I'm excited to see where this defense goes in training camp. And I forgot to mention it, but you know, Eddie Goldman did come in, and I know some fans are thinking that Goldman and Rush are going to be competing for a roster spot, but I'm here to tell you that they're probably both going to be on the team. I don't know if people remember, but the Falcons actually rostered 2 nose tackles for almost the entire season. They had Tyler Davison and Rush for a while, and then they had Rush and Mike Pennell for a while. So this is them keeping 2 nose tackles is very likely to happen.
And they're really good ones too.
Yeah.
You know, it's a huge upgrade with having, you know, Goldman and rush on there. So
yeah, and Goldman can play some potentially some like bear, 3-tech when they play bear fronts, or some 5-tech, and Rush can do some interesting stuff as well. Like when he and Pinnell both played together, one of them would kick over to play like a 3-tech next to the nose tackle. So I'm excited to see how they line these guys up, but that's going to be a lot of that's going to be 2 big boys out there on run defense, and I think that's going to go a long way to helping this team stop the run, because it was an issue for a lot of last season, obviously, stopping the run. So before we continue, guys, again, thanks everyone for tuning in, everyone for hanging out tonight, all the questions, we appreciate that. I did want to get to Gary Stafford, who left a $10 donation during the week to the training camp fund, so thank you so much, Gary. I don't see a message with it, Gary, so if you get this and you wanted to leave a message, just throw it in the chat or whatever, and I'll read it. But don't see one on there, but we do appreciate that. And if you're looking to help contribute to our training camp fund, you can do so using the link in the show description. I believe it's streamlabs.com/thefalcoholic. All donations, tips, whatever, are going to training camp this month. So, hey, help us out, get down there and bring you guys that coverage that you're yearning for. We don't have the official first day of camp because we know the first public practice is Friday, but there may be private practices before that. I'm not entirely sure. But whenever the first day of training camp is, I'll be there. I guarantee you that. So we will be bringing you all that coverage. I'm planning to do short live shows every day after practice as well. So you guys got lots to look forward to, and we're just a little over 2 weeks away. So we're almost out of the dead period here. And then I did want to give a shout out to Andrew, a new patron. Thank you so much, Andrew, for your patronage. We really appreciate that, man. All right, so let's transition now to the star of the show, the special teams review. I know that's what all you guys were tuning in for, right? Was this a special teams talk? I know that's why Evan's here. Definitely not to interview Anthony Rush, but
yeah.
But yeah, we've gotten through the whole offense and defense. What's left now is special teams, which is simultaneously more settled and less settled after some recent moves. But let's kick it off with maybe the most interesting topic, which is the punter battle. The punter battle has changed a little bit. I would say a lot.
A good punter battle.
I know. We need a good punter battle in here. But the Falcons had originally Dom Maggio, the former undrafted free agent, plus Seth Vernon, the current undrafted free agent. And Maggio was waived in favor of Bradley Pinion, the veteran punter who was most recently with the Bucs for several years. Never made a Pro Bowl as far as I know, but has been sort of a fringe Pro Bowl guy pretty much every year over the last several years. So all of a sudden, this competition, which seemed like it was honestly Seth Vernon's to lose, has gotten a lot more spicy with the addition of Bradley Pinion. Evan, I will give you the first take here to talk about Pinion and your thoughts on this punter competition.
Well, I liked Vernon a lot. I thought there for a minute because I know you'd probably agree with me. I thought he was like the favorite, especially once Dom was gone. But Pinion coming in kind of complicates that, and it's kind of funny because Vernon, he's 6'4", 6'5", I think. Pinion, I believe, is like also 6'5", so like we have 2 huge punters for some reason, and I'm not sure why. But yeah, I like Pinion a lot. He's probably the favorite now. But I mean, that's what preseason's for, and obviously, in practice, that's one of the few positions where practice actually you can have a battle in practice, and it means something just because it's punting. But Pinion obviously has the more experience. But we'll see, I guess, during preseason how much of an actual competition it is. But right now, I'd say Pinion's got the leg up on him, no pun intended, and Vernon, would be, in my opinion, a practice squad because, we've seen in the past Falcons struggle with punters who like hurt their hamstring or whatever. So I'd be, as long as he's what we think he's going to be, I'd stash him.
Yeah, no, I think it makes a ton of sense to stash him. And honestly, I agree with what you were saying. Like I was thinking that Vernon was sort of the favorite, even though he was undrafted, to come in and win that punter battle. Things are a little bit more complicated now with Bradley Pinion coming in here because let's face it, Pinion is a veteran punter, has done pretty good work everywhere he's been. So this is definitely a little bit spicier in terms of the level of competition now. But I will go to Adnan here as well. Adnan, your take on the punter battle between Bradley Pinion and Seth Vernon.
I definitely think Pinion is the favorite, just because a team doesn't generally want to rely on a rookie or something like that. And like you said, Bradley Pinion's just been incredibly steady throughout his entire career. He's I'm looking at the stats right now. Last year was his worst season in punt average. Averaged 42.5 yards per punt, which it wasn't much worse than some of his other seasons. But a couple years ago was his best season with Tampa Bay. This is someone who was actually drafted out of college, which not many punters are. So I definitely think that he's definitely the favorite. He's done some holding as well, so he can contribute in that area of the game. But it wouldn't, like you guys said, this is a competition. We'll look at it in preseason. We'll cover it and we'll analyze it. We'll watch it when we're doing play-by-play of the preseason games this year. But yeah, no, it's I think Pinion is the favorite, but Vernon's gonna have his say. And like Evan said, if he does very well, and even if the team doesn't roster him, he could still make the practice squad and still keep that dream alive.
Yeah, I think that's sort of his floor because I think the team actually really does like Vernon, and Pinion is only on a 1-year deal at this point. So we'll see what happens. Pinion did deal with some injuries last year. He wasn't as good. Again, that was mostly due to injury. And one of Pinion's strengths is his kickoff ability, which maybe isn't as important to the Falcons considering they have Younghoe Koo, who's their onside kick expert. But again, it's nice that he has the versatility to do that. I think he's also kicked a few extra points as a reserve too. So he has the ability to kick as like a place kicker. It's just not his forte. But I'm interested to see how it plays out. I agree that Pinion has to be the favorite. I think that the Falcons, one of the areas that they're going to sort of emphasize and try to make really, really good, because they can do it without spending a ton of money, is special teams. Like, I think they're emphasizing this special teams unit. You can tell with a lot of the moves they've made that's part of their plan, and that's why it doesn't shock me that we are seeing a signing like Bradley Pinion to come in here to add some insurance, basically. If Seth Vernon's not ready to go just yet, we could see Bradley Pinion win the job, and he's a steady veteran, and I think that at worst he'll provide above average punting. It'll be hard to keep up with Thomas Morstead, who had like NFC Special Teams Player of the Month performance.
He was like TFF's third punter.
Yeah, he was crushing it. Which again, still a little bit confused as to why he wasn't brought back. Considering
where'd he go? Miami.
I think he went to Miami, so good for him. Yeah. But it was a little weird that he didn't get brought back considering how well he punted. But maybe it makes sense. Morstead's in the twilight of his punting career. I mean, punters can play for a long time, but what is he, 36? I think he was like 36. So
he was Special Teams Player of the Month at one point last year.
He was, yeah. So he's clearly not slowing down yet. But for the Falcons, we've talked about it. Maybe they're viewing this as sort of a transitional year. Morstead is 36. So maybe going for Seth Vernon, who's obviously an undrafted free agent, very young player, and Pinion honestly is only 28, just turned 28 last month. So this is, maybe they're looking for more of a long-term solution at punter as opposed to just running it back with Morstead. You're going to get a great punter, but you don't know how much longer you're going to get that for. So also interesting that I wanted to point out, both Pinion and Seth Vernon are like huge punters. Like I think Pinion is 6'5", 229. I think Seth Vernon was like 6'5", 235 or something like that. So these are both big-bodied punters that can go make special teams tackles if you need them to do it. So that is another interesting layer to that competition. But that will definitely be one to watch if you're into the punting competition, which you should be. I think discerning fans should appreciate a good punting competition. But
field position.
Yeah, man, they're gonna need it. They're gonna need it this year. So, yeah, for sure. Kieran Welsh with the bad take here says throw the gradient uniforms in the garbage. Absolutely not, Kieran. The gradient uniforms were great. Okay, like most teams do gradient uniforms wrong, but I think the Falcons gradients actually look really good.
I liked them, but if they did like a little, hey, let's see how this goes, and just did red by itself, like I wouldn't be too upset just to see how it looks. But I know we've had red before, but it had all the stripes stuff all over it. Just to see with that uniform, I'd be okay with that. But
yeah, I agree.
But I mean, I like the gradients. If they were their primaries, absolutely not. But I can stomach it for one game.
Yeah, I think it's more of like a special occasion uniform. But
it works with the field and with the bends.
Right. If you see somebody out in public with it on, it's kind of like, ugh, that's kind of weird. But when you see them playing on, like, it looks good, in my opinion, because
you have to have the whole
movement.
uniform. Yeah, you have to have the whole uniform with the black pants.
Yeah.
Because just the jersey by itself. But yeah, I mean, Kieran, I do agree. Like, they should have a solid red jersey too. And honestly, I think that they will. Like, if you look at the red pants, they don't match any of their other jerseys, really, because the red pants, I think, have that black line on them.
Yeah, which none of the pants, so it would go from black to red, which doesn't make any sense.
Me thinks that perhaps a red jersey with a black stripe is forthcoming at some point to make that work. So
I'm just interested why they release, and I should have, I mean, I don't want to ask people annoying questions, but I'm just curious why they came up with the red pants. Like, surely they knew everyone was going to blow a gasket and be like, oh, I need to see the red pants.
Yeah. Well,
and just never even
hype,
just
hype. Yeah. That's it. That's how it is. You got to generate the hype out here. But
right.
All right, let's move on to we'll talk about some subtle ones before we get to returner, which again, that is very much open. I mean, I think we all agree Avery Williams is the favorite there, but that one is certainly, there's a lot of contenders for that. So let's go give Younghoe Koo his deserved praise because
there's not going to be kicker competition.
I don't think so. Not unless you think Bradley Pinion can kick, which he can technically, but I don't think he's going to be challenging Younghoe Koo or anything like that. So non-wax poetic for me about the greatness of Younghoe Koo.
Younghoe Koo. This is just, and it just feels like a theme in this episode, the fact that we had Anthony Rush on here.
Yeah.
You're talking about a guy who has was really bouncing all over the place. And, I'm still in awe at just how much Younghoe Koo just completely turned his career around. Remember, he was cut from the San Diego Chargers. At that point, they were still the San Diego Chargers. He was dreadful in 2017. Remember, he was missing kicks. I think I'm looking. I pulled up the stats right now. He was 3 for 6, 1 for 4 on everything beyond 29 yards.
Yep.
He made his extra points, which was
he did.
Yeah. Congrats. But then he went to the Atlanta Legends in the since folded AAF.
I think it was the AAF, yeah.
AAF. And I think I legitimately think, is he the only player from the AAF that made it to the NFL?
Maybe the only one that ended up becoming a Pro Bowl level talent, certainly. But maybe there were
wasn't the Panthers backup?
Oh yeah, the quarterback. I think he was from the AAF too.
I think so.
That league never even finished.
Backup quarterback Sam Darnold? No,
not that one.
But yeah, after playing with the Legends, he just comes to Atlanta. I still don't know how he just straight up revived his career with Atlanta. Like, he was someone who just couldn't kick from even moderate distance in San Diego. And since he made it to Atlanta, he's 13 for 14 on kicks from 50 plus yards. You know, he struggles more in the 40 to 49 yard range, but you know, he's someone that was a deserved Pro Bowler in 2020 and also a fantasy football league winner in 2020. Especially with how much the Falcons were struggling in the red zone. But yeah, just absolutely instrumental. The Falcons have been so blessed when it comes to the kicker position.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
for the longest time, you had Matt Bryant, and even before Matt Bryant, Jason Elam was a Pro Bowler in 2008. You know, he kind of, you know, he got cut in 2009 for his struggles. Then the Falcons signed Matt Bryant, and then you transition from Matt Bryant to Younghoe Koo with the Giorgio Tavecchio in the middle of that cameo appearance.
Yep. It was brief, thankfully. Yep.
Yeah, but like Mike, I don't know, the Falcons. I'm just so impressed with their scouting department when it comes to these kickers, and just how lucky they've gotten with these kickers, because this is a position, just like most special teams positions, you don't really look at it as a problem, but when it's a problem, it's a huge problem. Like, that shit will cost you some games if it's a problem.
Oh,
You
yeah.
can ask
Yeah.
Tampa Bay Buccaneers that over the past decade. But yeah, no, there's just not enough superlatives to say about Younghoe Koo. I think he did just extend his contract as well, which was, you know, very, very deserved. Looking at it's a 5-year contract, so he's going to be in Atlanta for a very good bit of time. He's
only 27.
Yeah.
And you saw how long Matt Bryant kicked, and Morton
Yeah.
Anderson, you know, kicked till he was 40 something. So
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, they could have Koo for another decade, you know, like easily.
He's not a free agent until 2027, and he's getting paid
Yeah.
very handsomely as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like,
yeah, it ramps up. Like this year it was pretty reasonable. It's only $3 million, but it ramps up to 5.7 over the course of the contract. So
yeah, and I mean, the Falcons will have some, you know, they'll have some cap space the next few years.
Yeah.
So you know, we're not going to be pinching pennies over Younghoe Koo making a little under $5 million of a cap next year when we have like $100 million.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah. It's the thing, like with kickers, is that, you know, a lot of people say, well, the Falcons, they were really good in one-score games last year, right? Like they won almost all their one-score games, and a lot of people are like, oh, that's luck, and like it is partially luck, certainly, but I think a big reason why the Falcons were so good in one-score games is because they had Younghoe Koo. Like Younghoe Koo was just nailing every single clutch kick that he had to make. So that makes the difference when you're playing a ton of one-score games and you're needing field goals to win these games. It helps that you have one of the best kickers in the NFL, and that is something that's not going to change here. So like the luck may shift away from the Falcons' favor in terms of the one-score games, but they still have Younghoe Koo. So I think them winning these close games is not necessarily going to go away entirely, because I think that the Koo is something in their favor every single week. And it's a weapon. You know, you mentioned the Bucs. There's a lot of teams, like the Chargers for several years, right? They were a decent team that just couldn't make a kick when they needed it. And it caused them to lose a lot of games and miss the playoffs and that sort of thing.
And part of that was Younghoe Koo.
Yes. To be fair, you know, but Younghoe Koo took that experience. You know, he learned from it, and he came to Atlanta, and you know that's when the light came on for him. And you know, I'm not like happy that it took him that long. I am happy that the light turned on in Atlanta. You know, for the Falcons' benefit, and also for Koo's benefit. So.
And you do see it, like it happens with a lot of kickers. I mean, just speaking of like Matt Bryant, for example, he kicked. I think in the Arena League, he kicked for the Giants, the Dolphins. Like he didn't just come to Atlanta like and made a name for himself. Like he struggled. You know, he was bouncing around some different teams there, and then found, you know, landed in the right spot. You know, there's been other kickers who kicked in Atlanta who like I think it was Keenan Forney who was talking about him, but Matt Prater, who ended up going to Denver and Detroit and having
Yeah.
I don't know if I think he's still kicking, but having like
He
a
might
really
be.
good NFL career and made like there for a while, had the record. So yeah, like it just, he, struggled or whatever in Los Angeles, but now he's, found the right spot and he's running with stride. And yeah, I think it's a really cool story. And then remember, he had that video on YouTube. Was it YouTube or it was on Twitter? It was popular about him like twirling the ball and like kicking it or whatever.
Mhm.
And that was kind of like wow, let's get this guy in here now. I mean, now he's already like a great Falcons kicker. Nod on point even before Jason Elam having Morton Anderson. Like we've had like a really good run of kickers, and I got a little PTSD when Adnan was talking about that summer of Tavecchio, because I was covering I was at the Jaguars game covering it for the Falcoholic, and that was the one where they brought in Blair Walsh as like his competition.
Oh, no.
Yeah, that was rough. And then they thankfully brought Matt Bryant back, to start the season and stuff.
Let's be honest. They cut Matt Bryant, and then they realized that they made a big mistake when Tavecchio was an absolute disaster in pre. Do you know how bad you have to be in preseason for the team to be like, yeah, this isn't gonna work out?
That was fun though. I did that where I just like tweeted at him every day. And remember that? And then they signed him, and they sent me a winky face. That was funny.
No, and the thing is, like, Tavecchio was so bad that Dimitrov had to like swallow his pride.
Yeah.
And do you know how like difficult it is for that man to do that? To be like, this is gonna be a disaster if I don't just like, go back to Matt Bryant with my tail tucked between my legs and just like give him $3 million to come back. And then he had the audacity to like make that video
my God.
Tweet it out on the team's social media being like, oh no, this was part of the plan the entire time. Like, this is why this worked out. Shut the fuck up. Like,
always, it was always intentional or whatever. Yeah.
Like, I remember watching that and I'm like, do you think this fan base is stupid?
Yeah, that's just insulting the fans at that. Like, you can feel however you want, but you can't be that blatantly like thinking the fans are stupid. Yeah, and that's all that video.
Can't do that. But yeah, I mean, I feel bad for Tavecchio because honestly, Tavecchio was really strong to finish that season out.
So good in that Giants game. Yeah. He was 4 for 4 in that Giants game.
Oh yeah,
That like 56-yarder.
Yeah.
Put the game away when the Giants were like coming back.
Yeah, it's such a mental thing with kick because all these NFL kickers have the ability to hit these kicks. Like they can all do it. They all physically are capable of doing it. But it's a mental thing. And like what do they call it? They call it like the yips or whatever in golf, I think, or something like that. In baseball, yeah. And it's the same principle. Like it's a mental block, and some guys can get over it quickly. Some guys need a lot of time, but NFL teams are not willing to wait usually for that stuff. Particularly when they're already not winning a lot of games, or if they're really close to making the playoffs. Like it's a brutal business. So I do feel bad for Tavecchio, but again, the coin flips over and Younghoe Koo gets another chance after having a similar issue when he was with the Chargers. And there you go. Now his head's in the right place. He's learned from it, and he's now a Pro Bowler, or should be.
And I just love the whole like Georgia connect. He went to Georgia Southern too.
Mm-hmm.
So he's a local product, played for the Atlanta Legends, stayed close to Atlanta. So, it's just great that, he's legitimately a homegrown kid.
Yeah. Remember when it was revealed he was going to wear 7 and everyone was like furious? And now they have that great picture of him and Vic. I don't know where they took it, but both of them wearing number 7. Yeah, that was cool.
Look, you just have to be great to wear number 7. As long as you're great, I'm not going to complain. And he earned it. So
I mean, they were giving 7 to like Bernard Reedy and some practice squad guys.
Oh man, Reedy.
I didn't think there would be a Bernard Reedy reference.
I was not expecting that. Yeah,
Speedy Reedy.
Yep, Speedy Reedy. Whew. Yeah, shout out to Reedy, man. I hope he's doing well.
But we do have, we've had Morton Anderson on and Matt Bryant on, both friends of the show. the big fish to catch.
Yeah,
gotta get.
You got to
Koo
get
on.
out there, get back on that horse. I know you just found
I'm
Anthony Rush,
trying.
but you got to
I'm
get up on that
trying.
horse and get Younghoe Koo. Well, maybe I'll see if I can talk to him at camp.
That would be lovely.
That would be cool, and then that can like plant the seed, and then
Yes.
we can grow the plant and then harvest the plant later. We got to be patient with this stuff.
And then enjoy the fruits for our labor.
Yes, exactly. Thank you for finishing the analogy. But all right, let's move on to the other position that seems pretty settled. Josh Harris exits unceremoniously.
I got a rant coming up.
Yeah, I'll open the floor to Evan. This has nothing to do with Liam McCullough, okay? Liam McCullough has nothing to do with this.
Nope.
This is not ire directed at you, Liam. If you're watching the show, we wish only the best for you. But Evan's got some words on the Josh Harris situation, so go ahead.
I just don't get it. The only excuse I'll accept is it was all money, and it was like barely any difference. But you literally have Josh Harris, who has been in Atlanta for a decade. Friend of the show, Josh Harris.
Friend of the show, Josh Harris, yeah.
He's been on a few times. But my biasness is not here. Don't worry about that. But literally for a decade, reliable. Literally, like, that's like the position where if you've got a bad long snapper, you're going to know it instantly because they're going to be messing up all over the place. And that's a hard job. But decade. And then on his, 10th season, makes the Pro Bowl, makes All-Pro, and you let him walk. And now we've got McCullough or whatever. No offense to him. I don't know anything about him, and I hope he does well. But he's never, like, from a management standpoint, he's never, to my knowledge, snapped in the NFL. Maybe preseason, but not in a regular season game. He's bounced around a couple teams. I know they had Bo Brinkley, who was with the Titans, but he's on IR now. So there's no telling. I mean, I guess if it works out, they've saved a lot. But, I mean, Josh Harris was a locker room guy, veteran in the locker room presence, and they let him just walk. And he's with the Chargers. But, yeah, I just didn't get that. And PFF also had him graded as their top long snapper last year. So,
yeah. It just seems like creating a problem where you didn't need to.
At like the cheapest position too.
It's so unnecessary.
Like literally, like Madden doesn't even have a long snapper thing.
No.
They just call them tight ends because that's how it works. Like,
it's bizarre. Yeah,
I haven't played Madden in so long.
No, well, you can get that.
It's the same every year.
Yeah, if you play, there's like that subscription thing now, like the EA Play or whatever that you can get for PC, or I think if you do the Xbox Game Pass or whatever, you get it included. Yeah.
It's been like 3 years. I mean, like a shit ton of time. But I'm like Evan said, I'm pretty sure if I fired up my Madden like 18 that I previously had, it would be the exact same as Madden 22.
Only thing that changes is the music.
Yeah, it does.
It's sad.
They've had some bangers on there. They've had some bangers in there, but
I mean, I buy it every year anyways, just because I'm stupid. But
yeah, because I always get the hankering to play it. Because on this subscription, you get the last year's one for free. You only have to pay like $5 a month. You get like a bunch of games, but Madden is one of them. But it's last year's Madden. It's like, I can play it up until the draft, and it's like, now I have to get the new one. But little do they know that you can just download mods for the PC version that add the whole new draft class in anyway. Then you don't have to pay for the new one. So that's what I'm going to do going forward.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was a random thought. I don't know about you guys, but it's just something about this time of year. I don't know. Maybe it's just like the warm ass weather and like raging humidity right now that we have in Georgia. Yep. But and I'm sure it's even worse in Florida where
it's pretty hot.
Yeah.
But
it's nice in New York. Yeah.
I don't know. It's just something about this time of year that just has me just like so itching to go when it comes to football.
Yeah. You get that, when my favorite smell in the world, and it's weird, but fresh cut grass reminds me of football. Like, and it reminds me of fall. I don't know. It's just one of those like things that triggers a memory. But
for sure. It's like a core memory too, But no, it's just like this time of year. I don't know. We're in like mid-July, and you just feel it's so close. It's like training camp is right there, and then it's like the preseason, and then we're really rolling. You're looking at fantasy draft rankings and stuff, and it's just you just feel that it's just so close.
Yeah, in that week of the first, like the Hall of Fame game, like a lot of people probably don't care, but like I know for us football nuts, like it's like, man, football's coming. Like I'll actually watch it just to, and then I turn it off like towards the end because I don't care anymore. But just to see some people hitting each other, even though it's like backups and stuff like that. But then, you get those preseason games where like we've talked about, on all these different shows, like the competitions. And, this is one of the biggest seasons ever for us, like competition wise. Like, I mean, we're pretty sure we've done a show already on it, but like Mariota's probably the starter out of the gate. But there's like, we get to see Ritter play, we get to see the receivers and all these other positions, battle. So I'm excited.
Yeah.
No, it's going to be great. And it's always that customary tweet when it's a Hall of Fame game. Oh, we're going to have football every Sunday for the next 6 months or like whatever.
And then right before the Super Bowl, they do that tweet of like, we're not going to have football for a long time now or whatever the days are. It's like, oh, that's depressing.
Yeah, that's sad. That's big sad. But yeah, it's an interesting time of year. And we're almost there. We got 2 weeks roughly. But I think we can do it. We're almost there, you guys. We're gonna get some takes. Speaking of takes, Liam McCullough is the new long snapper. Again, none of us really know anything about Liam McCullough. I believe that
Liam McCullough is probably going to be throwing darts with like Evan's face on it, just like
public enemy number 1, Evan Birchfield.
Yeah, I'm a hater.
Yeah, I know
but
was
again,
with.
I don't know anything about him, so I'm excited to.
He was with
what he can
the
do.
Raiders last year, I believe. I'm gonna pull this up. Make sure you guys have because apparently I was wrong about one of the players we talked about. Trey Webb was not a JUCO transfer. He was a transfer from not JUCO. It was from, I believe, San Jose State. So, my apologies on that one. But Liam McCullough was with the Raiders as a UDFA after the 2020 NFL draft. He was, I think, on the Steelers practice squad for a while that same year, and then he was back with the Raiders last year, but didn't make the roster, and then ended up signing with the Falcons this offseason. And then when the Falcons had that injury to now I can't remember his name, the other long snapper. Yeah, Brinkley, who was with the Titans before. McCullough was the last man standing, and they haven't brought anyone else in. So it seems like McCullough is sort of being handed the job. So good for him. But it is, look, and as long as he snaps that ball with no issues, then we're going to continue being happy for him and, hope that he can be a long snapper here in Atlanta for a long time, successful and all that good stuff. But just don't know too much about him, so we'll have to see how that goes in training camp.
How does IR work before the season? Like, can Brinkley come back?
No, I believe IR before the season is season ending.
Because I don't remember them actually saying what his injury was.
No, but I believe it was season ending. Like they were saying it would be. Yeah, that was my understanding. So yeah, that's unfortunate with that timing, but hopefully McCullough can. Yeah,
Brinkley was probably the focus, and then he had his injury, whatever it was. Yeah, and then so I mean, it's still possible they bring somebody in if there's a veteran they want to bring in towards the end. But that's the point of preseason. Now they're going to get to, see what McCullough can do.
Absolutely. All right. So should we move on to the returner competition now? I think we should. I think we've discussed long snapper in pretty impressive detail for this time of year. So returner competition. We have a couple of names here. The favorite would be Avery Williams, recently transitioned to running back Avery Williams, who I think he's the pretty heavy favorite. I don't know if you guys would agree with that.
I'd say so.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, so I'm excited.
I mean,
go ahead.
I was just going to say, if it's you need a return and it's in the Super Bowl or something, I want Cordero Patterson still back there. But the problem is you don't want to have him, he's such a big part of this offense now that you don't want him back there, as talented as he is, taking hits like that, to where, it should just be Avery Williams, because he's displayed, I think PFF even had him as like one of the top returners. So it just makes logical sense.
He's the best returner that the Falcons have had since when Hester was really good in his like 1 year, but like Avery Williams has legitimately been the best returner that the Falcons have had in almost a decade, I would say. Because I mean, remember, Falcons had
since Weems.
Yeah, I would say if not Hester, then Eric Weems in his first stint when he was a Pro Bowl in 2010. Because I mean, Hester was fine. I think no hate to him, but I think his time in Atlanta gets a little bit overrated.
Because he broke that record.
Yeah, just because he broke the record. And it was a great moment and stuff, and Deion Sanders was there and everything.
And he was still good, but he was past his prime. He wasn't prime like Chicago Bears.
Like I'm not saying, no Hester is the greatest returner of all time, but just like his 1 year in Atlanta wasn't like that.
Right.
It was solid, but it wasn't like the way that I hear some people talking about Hester. It's like they talk about him like it was like the prime Hester in Chicago, and I think that was a lot of that is name value, but that's neither here nor there. Yeah, I'd say maybe like Williams' year last year was probably the best we've seen in Atlanta since Eric Weems the first time. Eric Weems the second time was a human fair catch, like he wasn't doing shit. But yeah, no, like we had Andre Roberts one year, and then he leaves and he's like a 3-time Pro Bowler with the Jets.
Yeah,
it's crazy, man. It's crazy how that goes.
He also won the Salute to Service award that season with us.
Yep.
Not football related, but
just so no, I think we all agree that Avery Williams is a pretty heavy favorite here. The other guys to consider, and Avery Williams, the only thing that makes it even like a little bit complicated is the running back thing, and I guess we don't know for sure how that transition is going to go. He has played running back before. He played it in high school. And I think it makes a lot of sense for his skill set. I think he's actually a better fit at running back, I would say, than corner, because the size limitations at corner are significant because a lot of teams are going to play big slots. They do it these days, and it's tough for him. We saw him struggle, against size in the slot, and that was always going to be his limitation. At running back, you can get away with it. I mean, look at Jaquiz Rogers. Jaquiz Rogers was like 5'7", and Williams is 5'8", so it's not like it's that bad.
The only thing that worries me there is like how many running backs they plan to keep on the roster.
Yeah, I mean, because if you're one of these fringe running backs, on this road, not Cordero Patterson or Damian Williams, who was the free agent signing, but if you're one of these other guys, you're like, damn, like. If I was one of these running backs and I heard that Williams was like a running back, I'd be like, fuck.
Like Caleb Huntley had a good preseason, if I remember correctly. Quadri Ollison, I mean, he I think had one of the better like yards per carry average for us last year.
Yeah.
As Anna mentioned, Damian Williams brought in from Chicago. You got the rookie Tyler Algier, and then obviously Cordero Patterson. So I mean, you're cutting some good players to keep him on, and we're not even sure yet how good this experience is going to work out, but
because like Williams is one of the specialists, and if he makes it as a returner, he's getting his roster spot. But Williams, you're not cutting because you spent the money in free agency on him. Cordero Patterson, he'll be here, and then Algier, you don't want to cut someone you just spent a 5th round pick on, and then you have Williams as the 4th running back, like. Is this team does it really need to keep more than 4 running backs?
They won't. They'll keep 4. And unfortunately, that means Quadri Ollison, Caleb Huntley are probably fighting for a practice squad spot. I know, who was it? Rothstein actually had Damian Williams getting cut in favor of Quadri Ollison, which I was surprised by, but he's been there. He's been there. So he must, maybe Ollison's looking really good, whatever. But I do think, one of those guys. Yeah, I would be shocked by that too. But I mean, I'm sure he was basing it on something he's heard or saw or seen so far. But, we'll see. I do think it's going to be a tough battle there at running back, certainly. I think whoever's on the practice squad is going to be a good player. And running back is a position that you need to have a guy on the practice squad because they will probably get called up at some point during the season. So it's not a bad problem to have, but I agree that it does sort of suck for Huntley or Olsen. Well, both of them, I guess, because I think they're probably on the outside looking in terms of the 53-man roster at this point, through no fault of their own, really. But I do agree that it's easier to carry a guy at running back who may not provide you a lot at running back than it is to carry someone at cornerback, because those 5 corners you're going to activate, they all have to be ready to play because you're starting 3 corners most of the time. Like, if you have injuries, like that 5th corner could easily find himself in the game. So I think it's harder to hide someone at corner than it is at running back. So I assume that's why they made the move. But other guys we could talk about at returner real quick just to mention. We've heard Olamide Zaccheaus has been getting a lot of run there. I'd suspect that he's probably like the primary backup there. I don't know that, like, Zaccheaus' roster spot isn't in danger, so I don't know that they're going to necessarily like try to have him win the returner battle. I think he's been sort of serviceable, but I don't think he's really been anything special there. They've also had Demir Bird returning kicks. He did return kicks in with the Panthers. He returned punts and kicks, I believe, with the Panthers in his first couple seasons, so he has experience there. He's very fast. But depending on what you think of Bird, he might be one of the starting 3 receivers. So in that case, he's probably not returning kicks. And then the other guy is UDFA Jared Bernhardt, the lacrosse star. He's also apparently getting a lot of work at returners, so he could be sort of a wild card. But yeah, Evan, I'll go to you first there. Any of those other guys interest you at all, or any other sort of dark horse guys for the returner battle that you're interested in?
Not really. I think it's pretty, I think Avery Williams is it. Punt return wise, Zaccheaus I know can play some, but yeah, I don't, bearing some sort of preseason, even then we've seen it before where people have a great preseason, it doesn't work out, but maybe they land on the practice squad as a, God forbid something happened, injury.
Right.
Yeah,
I can see Bernhardt,
but,
doing that basically.
Yeah.
Like, if he's impressive, he could be like the first man up if they need a replacement for somebody. But
yeah, I'm pretty sure Avery Williams has it sewn up though.
Yeah, I think as long as he plays like he did last, like he was so good last year that they basically were like, Patterson, like you don't need to return anymore. Like we're just gonna take you out of there. So if he plays at that level again, then I think that he is sort of a shoe-in. I agree. But not any of those other returners interest you?
No.
No. Yeah,
I mean,
I like that. Short and sweet. Yeah.
But like, to be honest, like Williams was just so good last year that, spoiler alert, he's winning this job. Like I'm very confident, unless there's like an injury or he just like forgets how to play football. Then he'll be the team's primary returner.
That's right.
Yeah,
he gets out there and he has a Space Jam moment. Where he's just not sure
he lost his special stuff or whatever.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah.
We'll hope that doesn't happen. We don't want any sort of Space Jam, voodoo. I assume the Saints would be involved in that sort of situation. So
we'll be in training camp on the hill. We'll be getting the returner battle and stuff like right in front of us because will be so good. Then the offensive lineman will be like all the way over there.
That's how they do it. Yep.
See them.
Yep. I need to petition them to let us like run around the whole field so we can see the offensive line instead of being trapped at like halfway down the field, not being able to walk anywhere. So
no, that's something where keep an eye out for that. Whatever they show you that's like close to the fans, that's what they're really confident in. And if it's something that's far away that they want out of the like eye, then that they're having some issues.
So just Younghoe Koo kicking over and over and over.
Yeah, just right in front of the bench. Like, oh yeah, everybody loves that. So, yeah, I think that's pretty much the gist of it. That it's pretty much. I think it's Avery Williams' job to lose. The wild card would be, if he can't provide anything at running back, which I think is unlikely. I think he can at least be like a pass catching option there.
I mean, to make the switch, they had to have seen something, or obviously no games have taken place, but
the skills translate. I mean, he's played running back before. He's obviously a talented open field runner. He can catch. He can run with the ball. Like he knows how to. Like a lot of the skills translate. Obviously, the vision and the sort of plays that you have to learn and all that. That's something he'll have to learn, but he's going to be the fourth running back. So it's not like this is a guy you're going to be depending on to take 20 carries. It's like maybe we'll have you do some gadget stuff. Maybe we'll have you catch some passes out of the backfield. You know, they're probably going to keep it simple for him this year if he is the fourth running back. And, I mean, he's probably only going to play running back if there's injuries. So I don't know that it's going to be too much of a concern there. But again, like anything he gives you at running back is pretty much gravy. And I think, like we said earlier, I think it's easier to get away with having someone who's like a mediocre running back than like a mediocre cornerback, because you're not going to get victimized necessarily for having a running back in there that's not doing great. You're going to get victimized if one of your corners can't hack it. So we'll see how it goes. But I agree with what you guys said. I think that Avery Williams has to be the favorite there. And while I like some of the other names that they have and some of the other options, I do think it's going to be Williams. All right. Well, guys, we do appreciate everyone for hanging out with us tonight. There is not really much more to get to tonight. Like I said, it will be 2 weeks approximately until training camp. I think the 29th is the first public practice. So we're excited about that. We're going to have a training camp preview show next week. Where we'll be talking about some of the top stuff to watch, and maybe if there's any more roster moves, we'll get to that stuff. At the site, I've got my player profiles coming out. We're almost done. I'm on safety, which is the last defensive position. Then I'll do a couple special teams ones, like the ones we talked about tonight. And then I'll do one for Eddie Goldman, because he deserves one. He came in late, but he'll get one. Other than that, we're going to be rolling through our other off-season content in preparation for training camp here. Lots to look forward to. If you're interested in helping us get to training camp, you can donate to the training camp fund at any time. Like I said, the link to that's streamlads.com/Falcoholic. You can also join our Patreon to support us on a monthly basis. That's patreon.com/Falcoholic Live. I will mention that we're forming. I'm taking down the names now for our patron fantasy league. So if you're interested in getting involved with that, now is a good time to join up.
But make sure you bring your A game, because me and Kevin were in the championship last year.
Yeah, we wiped the floor with you guys.
Yeah.
So, we need you guys to step it up this year. But that's a lot of fun. We're probably going to have to run 2 or 3 leagues this year, which, of course, I'm more than happy to do. So if you're interested in getting involved with that, check that out. And an update on the Q&A. I think what we're going to do is do a Q&A before training camp. And then we'll do another one shortly after the first week of training camp. So we'll sort of bunch them together, because there's just not much to talk about, and I don't want to give you guys a Q&A where you're just having to ask joke questions the whole time. So we'll give you a Q&A right when training camp kicks off, and then we'll give you another one shortly after, and we'll just sort of bunch them up so you guys can get questions in that you actually care about. I want to make sure you guys are getting some good content there, not just anytime we can do it we will. But before we sign off, I want to thank my co-hosts tonight. But before that, also want to thank Anthony Rush for joining us, guys. Earlier in the show, if you missed that, you'll be able to just wait a few minutes. This will be up on YouTube within maybe 60 seconds, maybe less. So you can go back to the beginning of this video and watch the entire interview with Rush if you missed that. And this will also, of course, be up on our podcast feed as well for those of you listening to the audio version. But again, thanks, guys. And thanks to my co-host this evening, first of all, Director of Guest Personnel, Evan Birchfield. He is at Evan Birchfield on the Twitter. Evan, anything that you're working on you'd like to let the people know about?
No, just go to Falcoholic.com. Kevin and the gang's been killing it. Make sure you like and subscribe on here. Follow on social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram, _Falcoholic, and Twitter, obviously, the Falcoholic. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Make sure if you just tune in and rewatch it, because Anthony Rush kind of hinted at some interesting news. So yeah,
definitely. Also with us, Adnan Ikic at Say Which Way. Adnan, anything you're working on you'd like to plug?
Yeah, we have an article series going on right now at the Falcoholic, which is looking at the juiciest training camp battles. And I'm writing up the battle between Matt Hennessy and Drew Dahlman for the center position. That'll go probably sometime next week. So yeah, I'd definitely check that out.
Absolutely, guys. Look for that. Like these two said, make sure to like and subscribe, all that good stuff. Check out all the feeds. Check out thefalcoholic.com for that great written content. And for those of you on the podcast, thank you for listening. Until next time, guys, next week we'll be back with our training camp preview, and then it'll be just a week to go until training camp itself. So just got to get through a couple more weeks of dead period, folks. We're almost there. Until then, thank you for tuning in. We will talk to you next time on the Falcoholic Live. Have a great night, folks.